And I don't really see how you can push back against that. Again, we'll see what happens in the court.
I can.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can. What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no. No, wait a second. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous.
Hey, it is not a ridiculous thing. Because you know why? Because we can look at history, bro. Like, pick up a book and learn some things. It's always a slippery slope when it comes to these things. Always. It always starts with a small group of people that you might not be a part of. You might be like, okay, like if they get their rights taken away or if they can't participate in certain, societal functions as serving your military, serving the United States military, okay, who cares? Okay, all right, hey, cool. But then at some point, when does it stop? When do we start saying, okay, that's discriminating? At what point? Now, this right here, this is one hell of a reason, and I'm pretty sure a lot of people can agree, this is why I hate politics, because Republicans have successfully turned the conversation, anything, it doesn't matter what the subject is, it doesn't matter what they will blame anyone and everyone, including your mama, for whatever the case is. If planes are falling out of the sky, we're going to blame DEI, right? If prices are too damn high, and they've been too damn high, who we going to blame? Let's blame immigrants for, I guess, whatever reason, right? If people are broke, people being broke, people are still broken, people are going to continue to be broke. So who we going to blame? Wokeness, trans people, gay people, inner city people, which, is black folks. They will blame everybody. They're still blaming Joe Biden, Hillary Clinton, Obama for things that are happening today. So how are we supposed to have a civilized conversation with people on the other side of the aisle, whatever? How are we supposed to have that conversation if people can't be honest and base their conclusion or their opinions on some sort of facts? No, but we can't do that. So let me show you this video real quick. This is Jasmine Crockett, and I love how she decided to play this game during a hearing. Let's take a look.
So, Miss Goss Graves, I want to play a game. It's called Trump or Trans. You ready?
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to tell me whether or not it is Trump or trans people that are responsible. You understand?
Got it.
Okay, very good. The first one, gutted medical research.
Trump.
Kidnapping Americans and sending them to foreign countries, a.k.a. deporting them.
Trump.
Driving us into a recession.
Trump.
Increasing the cost of everything.
Trump.
Waging an idiotic tariff war.
Trump.
Harming farmers.
Trump.
Ignoring the Constitution.
Trump.
Proposing to take away Social Security.
Trump.
Cutting health care.
Trump.
Firing government workers who keep our country safe.
Trump.
Encouraging an environment of hate and divisiveness.
Trump.
Thank you so much.
No. Wait. Time out. No. Because if you watch Fox News or Joe Rogan or Bill Maher, like, you would think it was wokeness, right? You would think, hey, no. Because someone's lying to me at this point, right? You would think it's because of trans people. You would think it's because of DEI, wokeness, critical race theory. Remember that? But you see, I mean, it doesn't take too much to understand that's bullshit. Pure BS. But this is their strategy. They don't care if they look like complete idiots in that conversation and having millions of people watch them look crazy. They don't care. They don't have no shame whatsoever. So how do you conversate? How do you deal with people that have no shame in what they're doing. They don't care if they're as dumb as a bag of bricks. They getting paid. So why care? How do you deal with people like that? But they tell me that I need to have conversations with these kind of people. So let's go ahead and watch.
The main argument.
Let's watch CNN once again. I understand they need to have both sides of the conversation when it comes to these type of segments here, but like CNN. Hey, I know it's gonna be hard to find decent Republicans out there, but at least try. Pay a little bit more. But you can't continue to have idiots like this. They serve zero purpose in the terms of trying to at least come to some sort of conclusion on whatever the topic is. They serve zero purpose except for a headache. That's what they give people like me, a huge migraine after listening to these people. I'm sorry, my nose is all stuffed, so I'm sorry if I'm sounding like this, but let's go ahead and get into this conversation.
Elena, that the Trump administration is making here is that that allowing transgender troops to serve hurts lethality and it hurts readiness. What do you say to that?
Well, there's no evidence of that. I think that, if that was the case, we've seen transgender people serving honorably for the last several years. And what has changed between now and then? They've just woken up to a new administration who has a different outlook on their ability to serve. So I think that, if you talk to people who are serving on active duty alongside transgender troops, they're not making these complaints. The leaders in the military are not making these complaints. These are political complaints about military service. So I think that all of the courts that have looked at this issue and looked at it, and said there's nothing in fact to back up what the government is claiming here. In fact, the judges challenged them to produce evidence, and they couldn't produce any evidence. So I think it's a really dark day for our country, where basically we're allowed to discriminate against a class of people.
If they can't produce evidence at this
now she's about to go to Scott. Oh, dear Lord, save me now. Okay, so she's about to go to Scott. Now, a normal American citizen like myself, okay, I might be a little bit more political, awareness to political conversations, but just asking any normal person who's not really in tune into politics like that, they will tell you they don't care. They don't care who's serving the military as long as they're not batshit crazy, which, you might have to be halfway crazy. I don't know. But they don't care at the end of the day. I don't care, because these people are choosing to put their life on the line to protect you and I. I don't care if they're man, woman, or anything in between. Thank you for your service. Thank you for keeping me and my family safe. That's all that should matter, right? It doesn't matter what you got between your legs. It's all what matters is what's in your hands when you defending yourself, right? But no, the Republicans got this weird obsession of what's between people's legs. Get from between my legs, right? But no, leave it to this idiot right here to
actually does in fact have an impact on readiness. How is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander-in-chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military.
Wait. Hold on. Say that again. She, the young lady clearly said you have zero proof, okay? Zero proof to back up whatever that you're claiming. And he says right out the gate, and I think a lot of people missed it, but he's missing the point. Let's listen.
How is this not then just discrimination?
Hold on.
If they can't produce evidence that this...
If they can't produce evidence, okay, got you. Remember that. Evidence, facts, data, research. Evidence, okay? Listen.
actually does, in fact, have an impact on readiness. I mean, how is this not then just discrimination?
Well, it's the opinion of the commander in chief.
It's the opinion of Donald Trump. It's the opinion. It's the opinion. So now we're serving opinions over facts. We're serving opinions over data, over evidence, over research, scientific research. Oh no, it's the opinion of one person or a group of hateful people. Oh, we don't care about evidence no more. We don't care about the facts. We don't care about the numbers. We just care about opinions, right? Wasn't the Republican Party the party of facts over feelings? What's going on here? But Democrats, we let them off the hook so easily with this bait and switch now. Now they don't care about facts. But when we have a Democratic president, it's all about the facts. But now Donald Trump is president, it's all about the feelings, right?
Chief, who, according to our Constitution, is the head of the military. I mean, regardless of anyone's opinion or anybody's, whatever side you're on, whether you're for it or against it, at some juncture, the president is the commander in chief of the military, and he has and should have broad latitude to determine how the armed forces should be operated. And so I think that's what he's doing here. I think that's ultimately what the court said today, was that the president is the commander in chief, and we gotta respect that under our Constitution.
But I mean, to her point, if there's not a downside, and it's been going on for years now, and I mean, I'm just presenting your argument to them.
Yeah.
What is the argument other than Trump, Hegseth, just doesn't want trans people in the military?
Well, I mean, I think that the president, we'll ultimately see. I think that's why the court is allowing the president to move forward with this until it works itself through the court system. Maybe the Supreme Court will be the final arbiter here to say, yeah or nay, you can do this. But ultimately, I think the court is showcasing deference to the executive, saying that, look, you're the president, you're over the military. You do, for the most part, get to sort of dictate the standards of our military. And I don't really see how you can push back against that. Again, we'll see what happens in the court.
I can.
Yeah,
I'm sorry, I can. What if the president wakes up tomorrow and says, I don't want any black people in the military? Do we give deference to him on that? Well, no. No, wait a second. It's not ridiculous. It's not ridiculous.
Hey, it is not a ridiculous thing. Because you know why? Because we can look at history, bro. Like, pick up a book and learn some things. It's always a slippery slope when it comes to these things. Always. It always starts with a small group of people that you might not be a part of. You might be like, okay, like if they get their rights taken away or if they can't participate in certain, societal functions as serving your military, serving the United States military, okay, who cares? Okay, all right, hey, cool. But then at some point, when does it stop? When do we start saying, okay, that's discriminating? At what point? When they start saying, immigrants, or not immigrants, but Hispanic people, Asian people, oh, black people. Oh no, that's crossing the line at that. Oh, you can't bring up black folks, bro. Come on.
Because you're discriminating against a group of people in a very similar
Julie,
way. No,
I knew you were going to say that, but it's still
excuse me.
rude.
Well, I'm glad you.
I'm gonna leave this one
But
alone
hold on,
today.
I'm curious. Why is it ridiculous? I mean, you just said the president should be the one who just decides.
Right.
So if he decides, he wakes up tomorrow and says, I think it's bad for morale, it's bad for cohesiveness, for there to be black people in the military, Latino people in the military. Just in her hypothetical scenario, what's the difference between that and what we're seeing here?
I mean, are you really going to go down this ridiculous
I'm just.
road?
I'm sorry. Is
I'm-
she,
I mean,
I'm
this is
asking
ridiculous.
based-
This is a ridiculous argument.
Well,
Okay.
The president,
considering what they've already said.
Yeah. What is they can't, they refuse to answer it because to stick with their talking points, they would have to say, well, if it's something the president wants to do, then that's just what's going to have to happen. That's the position they're going to have to take. But of course, they don't want to say that. You know why? because that is discrimination. But that's something we can look back in recent history. But when it comes to the trans community, it's a lot likelier for people to say that has nothing to do with me, so I'm just going to ignore that situation. But when it happens to you, now we got a problem. That's why they don't want to answer it.
President and
Yeah,
Secretary of
let me
Defense.
just let him-
The President and Secretary of Defense have an argument here. They believe that readiness and unit cohesion and overall operations of the military are impacted by this. That is their opinion, and that is the opinion of the Commander-in-Chief, who the Constitution gives broad latitude to run the armed forces. So that's their opinion. You're allowed to have one. You're allowed to have one. You're also allowed to run for president and become Commander-in-Chief yourself. But until you do, he's the Commander-in-Chief.
I have to just say,
That's-
I didn't
you know.
hear an answer to the hypothetical, right?
That's a
I just didn't hear it.
hypothetical, though.
I
That's
didn't.
so
I mean,
ludicrous.
okay, the definition.
It's a ludicrous hypothetical. Bro, my grandfather is still alive and he lived through segregation. What do you mean this is a crazy hypothetical? I don't understand this. I would be furious sitting at that table with that nonsense. You ain't gonna get that past me. But that's how you continue to normalize this idiotic talking points. These white supremacist talking points. When you just like, oh, okay, you don't want to talk about it. Okay, all right, next subject. No, you end the conversation right there if they can't answer the question. End it. And if they can't answer a question, then you're not invited to the show no more. That's simple. But they continue to normalize the BS, the white supremacist talking points.
Of discrimination, according to the American Psychological Association, discrimination is the unfair or prejudicial treatment of people or groups based on characteristics such as race, gender, age, or sexual orientation. What is the difference between, prohibiting certain groups like transgender people from serving versus, people based on their race or even their gender, frankly?
I personally think there's a difference, and I'm just going to leave it at that.
Well, I will say.
Do you believe that race and are you saying that the quality of race and the quality of transgender are the same?
I'm just asking the question because
it's not the question of is race and gender the same. What the common denominator of the conversation is discrimination. That's what the topic is. That's the main focus. What are you talking about? You can discriminate over age, sex, orientation, race, religion. There's no hierarchy in those sets of groups there. But what the common denominator, what genuine loving people try to at least push aside is the discrimination part. Do you see what I'm saying? But of course they let these whack ass Republican talking heads off the hook, get into their face. If I was her, if I was the host of the show, it'd just be me sitting at the table, because I will never tolerate dumb assness on purpose. Now, if you just don't know some things, okay, let's learn. Let me teach you, or let's figure this out together. But if you're purposely going to be a dumbass just to so you won't say that you're wrong, oh, hey, get out the chair. You ain't getting paid today. That's simple. And I don't want to see you back.
Because I think you're making there's a distinction, but you're not explaining why.
No, I'm asking you guys brought up the hypothetical. Are you arguing that someone's race is the same as someone choosing to become transgender?
But your argument, you've made the argument twice that the Commander-in-Chief's opinion is all that matters. You've said that twice now.
Well, under the Constitution, yes.
So if he wakes up tomorrow and says it's not okay to be gay or lesbian and serve, because that's his opinion, there's nothing to back that up. They meet the physical standards, they meet the intellectual standards, they have voluntarily decided to serve their country, to give their life for this country. So many of us don't have to. That It's the opinion without any basis in fact that's what matters more than the Constitution of equal rights and equal protection.
Go ahead.
No, I was going to say.
Go ahead. Yeah, of course. Pass the ball. Because you have no solid, concrete comeback, no rebuttal, nothing. You're just gonna be, his opinion. That's all that matters. Okay, got you. Get off the show. That's simple.
The other thing, or there's a few things that bother me about this, and mostly it was the language of the policy, right? When you're reading at some of these words, transgender people as inherently untruthful, undisciplined, dishonorable. That's like a very weighty thing to say about people who are courageously deciding to protect this country. The other problem, Scott, is that it's never enough. It's bathrooms today. It's sports today. It's sports tomorrow. It's the military today.
No, it's also sports today, by the way.
Yeah, it is sports today. And
80% of Americans agree, by the way.
Oh, that's fine. And 80%, guess what? The majority sometimes is wrong. That also happens, right? Because the majority used to believe that Dr. Martin Luther King Jr. was somebody who was a threat, that somebody who was not a good American. The majority of people used to be against civil rights. Were they right? No, they weren't.
Hey, that's what I'm talking about. Put him in his spot, bro. That's what we talking about. And that was just a couple of decades ago. That wasn't like 200-300 years ago. That didn't happen just in other countries. That literally happened in our country in my grandfather's lifetime. So, hey, what are we talking about? This is not something that is an extreme, crazy hypothetical. This could still happen.
And so the whole point is when you target one group, and inevitably that line moves to everybody else. And I'm not saying he's coming for black people tomorrow, but considering that this is a military or this is a leadership that is already using DEI as code word for black people already when it comes to the military, suddenly when you don't protect the most vulnerable, you wind up making it worse for everybody else that's in the marginalized community. You don't think trans people are vulnerable in this country?
So is it your position that the commander-in-chief should recruit people who you're describing as vulnerable into the lethal fighting?
Oh my God, I swear. Hey, guys, check this out. Okay, you know what? I'm probably being too hard on him. Okay, he's probably like a literal dumbass. He may be stupid, like textbook definition stupid. He may not know nothing about politics. Well, so you're saying the president should, let vulnerable people in? Like, no, that's not what she's talking about. She's talking about people that can easily be exploited, picked on, persecuted, and people nowadays will turn a blind eye to it because they instinctively already have some sort of hate against those kind of people. So they're not going to say nothing. That leaves those kind of people vulnerable. Oh my God. Like, do they just look for anybody with a nice suit and tie on the stage? What's going on here, CNN? Hey, CNN, do better. This is so you're telling me bro, okay. Hey, this is a family show. I'm sorry. This is a family show. Let's continue.
He should recruit people who want to serve and protect this country. And it's really kind of ironic considering he dodged the draft that he suddenly has an opinion about.
He has an opinion because he won the election.
The good news is, and Elena, you pointed this out, this is going through the court system. The other side has the opportunity to present evidence.
Except for tomorrow, there's going to be thousands of people who wake up and get processed out. The harm will be done.
And I certainly understand that. But again, there's still an opportunity for it to continue through the proper process.
Right, but they wake up tomorrow without a job, being removed from their commands. Operational readiness will be impacted. And so there's commands that are going to be left without leaders. There's going to be real life implications for theaters around the world where our military is protecting this country. And for what end?
Man, can you imagine that? Being let go, having no job, due to no fault of your own, but someone has an opinion about you. They're not looking at your serving history. They're not looking at your qualifications that you have. No, he just has an opinion about you. Don't know who you are. Probably wouldn't be able to pick you out from a group of people, but he has an opinion on a group of people. So now they lose their job. Do you know what happens when you lose a job just unexpectedly? Do you know what happens? Bills don't get paid. You know what happens when bills don't get paid? Things start to get cut off. The repo man starts turning around your corner. You start to get evicted from wherever you live. Oh, it's the president's opinion, right? Bro, get out of here.
So, Elaine, I guess my point is, if a strong enough evidence is presented throughout the court process, all the way up to SCOTUS, and it's ultimately believed, okay, hey, the other side has enough evidence where we can't rule in favor of the executive, then the executive, I believe, would respect that decision. But we have to allow this thing to move forward and see what
was your experience in the military like? Did you serve after you had transitioned, or?
No, I served before my transition.
So you weren't in during your at all?
No.
Okay.
I came to know that I was transgender while I was serving with a top secret and above clearance, and I knew that I couldn't pass my polygraph test, and so I had to make a tough decision. Do I stay true to my character, my values, my integrity, or do I choose to leave this role and live a private life? And
Hey, you said words that he does not understand. Integrity? Integrity? You're going to float that word to him? You know damn well he doesn't know what that word means. But he's like, okay, integrity. What is that, a snack or something?
And so I think that the challenge is that the injunction was to allow people to continue to serve while the courts played out, right? So there would be no harm done to these folks, giving the courts an opportunity to work through these issues so people wouldn't lose their jobs. Now they're going to wake up tomorrow without jobs. They can't just come back in for serving 22 years, waiting for this court case to work its way through for 6, 9 months, 2 years.
So you hadn't so was there a prohibition on you transitioning while you were in the military?
Back in that time, there was a ban against serving if you were, the don't ask, don't tell policy.
This was in the mid-90s.
This was in the mid-90s. Yeah.
So, but can I ask you a question? Because I think this is relevant. Elena was serving, left because of this policy. How many people is it okay to lose who are competent, who are doing their jobs because for reasons like that? I mean, at the time, she could have been a gay or lesbian, and it probably would have been the same result as well. I mean, I think that's why ultimately they ended Don't Ask, Don't Tell.
I mean, I think
discrimination.
I think ultimately the commander-in-chief and the secretary of defense have to decide comprehensively about troop levels, troop readiness, and unit cohesion, and overall recruitment. They're actually quite happy with recruitment right now.
Yeah. But there's never been a military standard that transgender people have not met. So the military standards have not been lowered for people who are transgender. And I think that's the issue here. And the courts that have looked at this issue in depth have said this is pure animus, that there is no evidence of this. So if you actually take the rhetoric out of it and look at the issue at its heart, all the courts say the same thing. So I think that's the travesty here.
I believe the president has the constitutional right to do that.
Oh my God, bro. Hey, that trick, that talking point is played out, bro. Like, you're supposed to be on that stage with a sense of some higher intellectual ability to conversate with people to get to a consensus of a solution for the problem at hand. And brother, you are not doing that. You are a waste of time. You are a waste of seat at that table. I'm sorry, you're there because you're white and you're a Republican. I'm sorry. That's all you're good for.
Do this, and I also think you have the constitutional right to make your case on it, and everybody's going to be in court about it, and I think you should continue to make your case.
But you also talked about unit cohesion, and that's exactly the same kind of argument that they made against integrating the military when Harry Truman did it. I'm sorry, it's the same argument.
Man, this black, bro, hey, folks, hey, okay, this is a family. Hey, this coon right here in a suit, this raccoon in a suit, needs to just shut up, bro. How are you letting this white lady defend black history here? How you letting this white lady defend the rights of black people like I said, it's just a hop skipping away from being next? It doesn't make any sense. What reality are we living in? I got white folks worried about my people, while a black person is just sitting there huffing and puffing like she's saying something bad, like she's saying something wrong, like she's saying something factually incorrect, and she is not. But you got brother here. Oh, I mean, this is crazy. What ignorant dumb thing are you about to say right now?
It's the same.
I mean, is she
argument,
wrong about that,
Shargo.
though? I mean, she is right about
Who did not
that
want to
from a
serve
factual
white,
perspective.
I'm aware.
White people didn't want to serve black people because of unit cohesion. So now you're saying gay people
Can I
shouldn't serve with straight
just,
people.
we only have a couple seconds. Share, Michael, I see that you're frustrated that she made that argument. But is she wrong that unit cohesion was used as an excuse to keep the military segregated for a long time?
I think we should
and
focus
also
on,
don't ask, don't tell when it comes
we
to
should focus on the
discriminating against gay and lesbian people.
We should focus on the issue at hand. That's what I think.
Same argument.
Man, you're a coward, bro. This is the face of a coward. You are a coward. Hey, sir, I pray to God right now. I pray right now that you run into this video and just so happen watch to this point to hear me say that you are a coward. And I will say that to your face, and I promise you ain't gonna do nothing. You are a coward, bro. You letting this white lady defend your people while you sitting there, oh, we should stick to the subject at hand. But when they come for your people, when they come for people like you, then what are you gonna say? What are you going to say? When you're the subject at hand, what are you going to say? And I pray that there's no black folks there to protect you. That's simple. But hey, thank you for watching. If you made it this far, please go ahead and subscribe. Hit that bell. Hit the thumbs up. Do all that cool things that YouTube likes to see. If you agree or disagree with anything I said in this video, let me know in the comments down below, or hit that blue sky link that's in the description down below. I fixed it this time, so it should be ready for you to click on so we can have that one-on-one talk. And like always, let's have that conversation.